Is everything fucked? Oh. No? Okay, we're good. I have to talk to the sister again now. Alright. So don't trust the autosave. Yeah, let's get that first. Teehee?
That's my room. Leave before I call Horatius.
Okay. Alright. We can get through this.
We... You... Here... If I... Oh, you should... What? You should...
Alright. So let's save pretty often then. Hey, buddy.
What now?
What's your story?
I'm a legionary of the 1st Italica, but there's not a lot of fighting down here. So the magistrate has assigned me other duties. I act as the magistrate's right-hand man, keeping an eye on his daughters. Daughter, I should say. And the others, and making sure they're all behaving. I also keep a register of new arrivals.
How'd you end up here?
I'm from Liguria, up north originally. I was doing alright for myself. 12 years into my service. Had a nice girl lined up for when it was all over. Not anymore. She's probably figured I'm long gone and moved on by now. I try not to think about it. My commander sent me to deliver a message to Rome. While I was there, I thought I'd do something nice for my girl, and pick up a little pendant from a silversmith. That's when the crowd started flooding through the streets, shouting fire. People were screaming, trampling each other. Then some Genetricum fugitor tried to take advantage of the chaos and pinch my pendant. I remember chasing him through the crowds, down towards the river. And then, nothing. Blacked out and woke up near here. No idea how I ended up floating so far downriver. But I'm fortunate to be alive, I suppose.
Sorry to hear that.
Ah, don't be. As Seneca the Younger said, difficulty strengthens the mind, as labor does the body. That said, Scintilla's disappearance has been more difficult than I'd care to admit.
What can you tell me about the magistrate?
He's one of the better commanders I've ever had, that's for sure. Good stoic. Lives by Seneca's words. Treat your inferior as you would wish your superior to treat you. Can't ask for much more than that.
You know a way out of here?
I went around asking the same questions when I first arrived. Never did find a way out. But I learned how to accept my situation. To bear trials with a calm mind robs misfortune of its strength and burden. That's from Seneca the Younger, if you're interested.
He likes his Seneca. Can I see the citizen register?
I don't see why not. Just make sure I get it back by tomorrow.
Nice. A register of each person in the city in alphabetical order. Aurelia, commoner, tavern keeper. Quarters, tavern and slum. Notes, claims to no way out. Claudia, patrician, wife of Malleolus. Quarters, villa, central. No notes. Decius, commoner, merchant. His quarters are in the forum. Domitus, commoner, Malleolus's guard, and the quarters in the slum. Duilius, commoner, unable to work, imprisoned in warehouse in the slum. Equitia, patrician, the Vestal princess in the lower villa. Fabia, a commoner, baker in the slums. Galerius, commoner, farmer in the slums. That's the guy who introduced or greeted me. Georgius, foreigner, merchant of clothes in the forum. Hannibal, a foreigner who forages for scraps in the slum, who is dead. Horatius, commoner, guard quarters in the slums. Kabosh, foreigner, a fisherman in the slums who has disappeared. Yulia, a patrician who is debt bondsman to Malleolus in the middle villa. Olivia, a commoner, hairdresser in the slum who refuses to work. Lucretia, a foreigner, nurse in the slums. Malleolus, patrician, duty, money lending, in scare quotes. Quarters villa, middle, notes, not to be trusted. Navia, commoner, physician, who has locked herself in the palace. Octavia, patrician, who does cleaning and gardening in the lower villa. Rufius, commoner, who is a patrolman in the slums, who is increasingly agitated. Cynthia, who we've met, restricted to her villa. Scintilla, missing. Cynthius the magistrate. Ulpius, another debt bondsman to Malleolus. And Virgil, an architect. Thanks, buddy.
Of course.
What do you think about the Golden Rule?
Well, as I always say, it's kind of like a divine version of the practice of decimation in the Legion. By threatening to execute 1 in 10 men, the idea is to ensure order and discipline among everyone. And it works. If you knew you could be executed because your brother-in-arms is planning a mutiny, well, you'd bloody well watch him like hundred-eyed Argus, wouldn't you? Because your only chance of saving yourself is to stop bad things before they happen. Makes us all responsible for keeping each other in check. It's brutal, of course, but effective. The Legion wouldn't be the most formidable force in the world without it.
Where I'm from, that'd be considered collective punishment, which is a war crime.
A war crime? Isn't that a contradiction in terms? As Cicero said, in times of war...
This guy likes his philosophers, huh? Our worlds are very different.
Seems that way. War crimes. Ridiculous.
Are you saying you're in favor of it?
What's done is done. I was forced to execute my brothers in arms, and those memories will always visit me in my sleep. But life is harsh, and I've come to accept my lot. As with the Golden Rule, I don't have any control over it, so railing against it would be like trying to stop the seasons or the tides. As Seneca the Younger wrote, true happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future, not to amuse ourselves with either hopes or fears, but to rest satisfied with what we have, which is sufficient. For he that is so wants nothing.
Let's talk about something else. Who are you going to vote for?
Not that it's any of your business, but my loyalty is and always will be with Sentius. Unfortunately, I don't think my vote is going to make any difference today. See, Domitius has been going around town, shoring up votes for Malleolus with lies, bribery, and intimidation. The man's a savage, but he's a gladiator, so people fear and respect him more than they should. Sentius knows about it, of course, but he doesn't have the same rat cunning as Malleolus. This place will be different with that sleaze at the helm. But I try not to worry about things I can't change.
Can I help?
I appreciate the thought, but you're new here, and I just can't see how you could make an impact in the time between now and the election this afternoon. In any case, if you're interested in the election, go and have a chat with Equitia, the Vestal Priestess. She'll be overseeing proceedings.
Can we talk about Scintilla?
What business is that of yours?
I'm looking for her.
A lot of people have been looking for her, but it's been 3 years, and we've found nothing.
Try harder.
I think you can do better.
Sometimes fresh eyes help.
I suppose that's true.
Did you notice anything suspicious before she went missing?
Scintilla was always a kind, well-behaved young woman. I admit, her disappearance really caught me off guard. If anyone knows something, I'd expect it to be Sentia, Malleolus, Claudia, or Domitius. But none of them will tell me anything. You might fare better though, I suppose.
Let's talk about something else.
Alright.
See ya!
Please keep an eye out for anything that might lead us to Scintilla.
We're just doing detectiving at this point. They just keep these statues around. Shut up! Alright, Buster. You don't scare me.
What were you two talking about?
Sorry, what?
Don't play.
Yeah, we got through this
What's
part.
the
Yeah. We're talking about the
What, Bob?
election. Don't care about the election. Let me ask some questions. Con it! What's your story?
You want to get to Malleolus? You go through me.
Why are you dressed like a gladiator?
Why? Because I am a gladiator. That's why.
Alright, that makes sense. But you're nowhere near an arena.
You want to see me fight? Keep running your mouth, fatuous cunners.
Whoa! You can't say that. You know a way out of here?
When Malleolus wins the election, yeah? This place will change. You won't even want to leave. You'll see.
What do you think about the golden rule?
I think it's gone on long enough. And Malleolus is going to put an end to it once he's elected.
How's he gonna do that?
He's going to announce it in his victory speech. Just you wait and see.
Why can't you tell me now?
Because if I tell you, and it gets out, it'll give old man Sentius a chance to interfere in our plans. And we can't have that.
I'm not sure I believe
Old
that.
man Sentius got you already, did he? Well, I'm not talking to people in his faction. Confituare.
He's a hard ass, huh? What's this say? Sentius and Malleolus, same excrement, different smell. Nice. What's down here?
Hey! You're not thinking about going into the cistern, are you?
Why?
Nobody's told you about Hannibal? Ugh, why do I have to do everything round here? So, there was this guy called Hannibal, right? Funny accent. Used to go down into the cisterns looking for junk he could clean up and sell. One day, a few weeks back, he comes out and tells me the cisterns are haunted.
Uh-oh.
Said he could hear spirits wailing. Of course, nobody believed him, because who trusts a Carthaginian, right? Anyway, a few days later, he goes back in. And hours go by, and he hasn't come back out, yeah? So I go down after him, and it's dark. But in the distance, I can just make out his body, sprawled out on the ground. And hunched over him was something that made my blood run cold. No word of a lie. I saw a creature. Like the corpse of a man who'd been flayed.
Yikes.
And it was eating Hannibal.
Wouldn't that have broken the golden rule?
If it was a man, maybe. But I swear on my life this was no man. More like a Strix. Or some Versipelus that feeds on human flesh. I didn't stick around to see which.
What did you do?
What any sane person would have done. I legged it out of there and put a sign at the door to warn the others.
That was a great story, but I'm still going down there.
Without a weapon? Well, it's your funeral.
I mean, maybe not without a weapon. Whoops. Yeah. Whose house is this? Oh, whose villa is this? Shut up!
Ave.
Ave.
A new face. Ave, and may Vesta watch over you. I'm Equitia. To what do I owe the pleasure of this visit?
What's your story?
Oh my. I take it people are quite direct where you're from. I suppose it's
Yes.
quite charming in its own way. Usually, however, you wouldn't simply march up to a Vestal priestess and without due formality or courtesy ask, "What is your story?"
Cope, I'm in a hurry.
Oh, a hurry, you say? Well, in that case, let's do it your way. You just keep being yourself and ask whatever you like. It'll be a refreshing change.
What's a Vestal priestess?
You really don't know? You are from far away, aren't you? Well, I am one of the priestesses, charged with keeping the sacred flame in Rome's shrine of Vesta burning. I take it you know who Vesta is?
Remind me?
Vesta is the mother goddess of hearth and home, and the guardian of the Roman people.
What do you do here?
Put simply, I tend to the temples, ensure their sanctity is preserved.
Why?
Why? So that we continue to honor our gods,
But
invite
why?
their blessings, and not bring their wrath down upon us, of course. It's vital that we keep them appeased and remain in their good graces.
How'd you end up here?
You know, I'm not entirely sure. But what about you? How did you end up here?
A young woman named Karen dragged me out of a river unconscious and sent me in here.
Karen, you say? And nothing about that name seemed odd to you.
It's an older name, but not uncommon where I'm from.
Older. I see. I wonder if... No,
What were you gonna say?
I apologize. I don't mean to be cryptic. It's just that you've got me thinking. Have you spoken with any of the others about how they arrived here too? I really think you should. Go around and ask them what they remember and see if you notice any patterns.
You're being a bit coy.
I know. I just don't want to see what happened to Livia happen to you too.
What happened to Livia?
Up until a few weeks ago, she was a perfectly productive member of our little community, darning clothes and
Darn
braiding
it.
hair. She was always so chatty, always seeking out newcomers and asking them where they were from and how they wound up here. And then, about a month ago, she suddenly changed. She withdrew, stopped working and became despondent, started muttering to herself. Galerius and I visited her to see how we could help, but she just looked at us with this haunted stare, called us bloodless shadows, and told us we were ignorant of some pattern. Look, it could be unrelated. Perhaps she simply fell ill. Or, as Galerius suggested, the weight of the golden rule was too much for her. But there is a small chance that she learned something, saw a pattern nobody else saw, and that it broke her. I just don't want to see that happen to you. So be careful, will you?
We'll be careful. Plus my brain is small.
Now, go and follow the thread of truth through this labyrinth, and come back to me if you discover any patterns.
I'll see what I can do. Do you know a way out of here?
I don't, I'm afraid. It seems to me we're exiled here until the gods judge us, one way or another.
What do you think about the golden rule?
I'm quite sure it's the work of the gods, which is strange because they've never been particularly concerned with our misdeeds, as long as we've kept the peace of the gods. We asked for blessings, for good health, bountiful harvest, military victory, and in return, we offer praise, wine, incense, or animals. But here, it seems they require much more of us. I find myself reminded of an especially pertinent tale from our great poet Ovid in his epic Metamorphoses. Would you like to hear it? It is rather long.
Sure.
Wonderful. It goes like this.
Oh, hit me up.
Baucis and Philemon were an old married couple living a humble life in a small town.
Give me the
One
lore.
night, the town gets a visit from a couple of vagrants. They go from door to door, asking for a place to stay the night. Of course, being vagrants, they're turned away sharply from house after house, 1,000 in all.
Holy
Until
shit.
finally they come to the little cottage where Baucis and Philemon lived. Now the kind old couple had very little to offer, but nevertheless, they invite these strangers into their house and offer them food, wine, and a place to stay. Immediately the guests make themselves at home. They begin gulping down the old couple's wine, so much so that Baucis, the old lady, begins to worry they're going to run out. And then she notices something strange. Her wine pitcher keeps refilling itself, as if by magic. Realizing only a select few possess such powers, says to her husband, Philemon, "I think these men are gods in disguise." Immediately the couple begins apologizing for offering such coarse wine. and the vagrants metamorphosize and reveal themselves to be Jupiter, the king of the gods, and Mercury, the trickster god. They confide they didn't mind the meager offerings. They were just pleased that someone in the town offered them hospitality. Then Jupiter says to them, "You have passed our test, but everyone else in this city failed, so we are going to destroy this place and everyone in it, except you, who we will grant a wish." So old Baucis and Philemon escape up into the mountains safely, and they receive their wish, which is for eternity together.
That's cute.
Meanwhile, Jupiter carries through with his threat and wipes that city off the map.
That's not cute.
Some say the moral of that story is that we must all honor the sacred rituals of guest friendship, the reciprocal obligations owed between hosts and guests. But I like to think it's that we should always show compassion for those less fortunate than ourselves.
I agree.
I'm pleased to hear it.
What's the status of the election?
It must be completed by dusk, just the same as any other official business. It'll be between Sentius, the incumbent, and Malleolus, the challenger. Why do you ask?
Who's allowed to vote?
All of the male citizens who are willing and able to attend, unless they're running, of course.
The women can't vote?
That's just the way it's always been, I'm afraid. It never sat right with me, either. There are some women who can vote, Vestal priestesses like myself, but in this case, given my role overseeing the election, I've decided to abstain. I can't allow the perception that I'm being anything but fair and independent, but if it's any consolation, there are other ways to influence the outcome of an election.
Such as?
By using whatever gifts the gods gave you. Nothing untoward, of course.
What's your role in the election?
I'm responsible for announcing it and making sure the procedures are followed.
Can I nominate another candidate?
You can, assuming they're eligible and willing to accept the nomination.
I nominate myself.
Certainly.
Been asking people about how they wound up
Did you
here.
notice anything? A pattern?
Not yet.
Oh, well then.
Well then.
Asking people, Livia's fate weighs heavily on my mind.
Whoops, I
And
skipped
it
the line.
dictates we should be sure. Yes, you should ask the others first. Come
I'll
back
be
to me
going.
once you've acquainted yourself with the rest of our neighbors.
Okay. You seem nice. Shut up! Just move then. Ooh, note to Octavia. An anonymous friend to Octavia, may the Lord bless and keep you. I'm sorry I could not risk discussing this with you in person, but if I am right, then you're a believer like me. You may not be able to worship openly here, but know that you're not alone. If you ever feel like you need somewhere to pray, there's a special place waiting for you deep in the caves behind the theater. Turn right at the first fork, and again at the second. Oh, there is no previous or next page. Enter the caves behind the theater, then turn right at the first and second fork. Are you in a cult? Wait, that's not Olivia. The sculpture of Minerva, the Roman goddess of strategy. Woo! Do a flip, Minerva. Oh, let's save again. Just in case anything bad happens. Alright. They just let the statues vibe out. I mean, I guess it's better than throwing them into the chasm? I guess? Is there a map? I don't think there is. I think we just have to learn our way around as we go. Where's the lady who was talking about bloodless shadows? Let me in. Oi! Get out of the goddamn way! Fine, be that way. I like the music. Good vibes. Someone's been hard at work on a prototype zipline. A poem by Galerius. My life has been torturous as the 7 labors of Hercules, orphaned, defeated, and enslaved, yet I would suffer it all again gladly, because each loss, wound, and tragedy brought me to you. Radiant as Rome's sacred flame, your bright warmth nourishes my soul. I know I can never touch you, any more than hold Vesta's flame, but to watch and love you from afar, bathing in your glow, is enough. You simpin', bro? Oh, here's Livia.
Cerberus lifts his triple head and lets out his threefold braying.
Livia, would you stop muttering like Medea over a cauldron? You'll scare away my customers.
They follow their trades, imitating their previous lives.
Small
but
wooden
they
model of
are
an arena.
Ignorant.
This again. You're in a world of your own, aren't you?
Nice.
Just as the ocean accepts the rivers of all the world, so this place accepts all the souls. But it does not notice the crowds that come.
What's your story?
The bloodless shadows wander without flesh or bone.
She crazy.
Some crowd the forum, some the house of the ruler of the depths. Others follow their trades, imitating their previous lives.
I'm sorry, I have no idea what that means.
They never do.
You know a way out of here?
There is only a downward path, gloomy with fatal yew trees. It leads through dumb silence to the infernal regions.
Do you need help?
Help me? You cannot help me. I have seen things. A pattern, a terrible pattern. It is better for you if you remain ignorant. Pandora's box must stay closed. I'll say no more.
What do you think about the golden rule?
The bloodless shadows. This is their punishment.
Right. Can you tell me about the pattern you saw?
You think you wish to know, but you do not.
Holy shit, it's just like classic
better for
WoW.
you if you remain ignorant. Pandora's box must stay closed.
Alright, okay.
The newly arrived are ignorant of the road before them.
Thank you, ma'am. The many shall suffer for the sins of the one. They say that all over the place, huh? A fermented fish sauce used as a condiment. Whoever lives here must love this stuff. Fish. Garvum. Roman shield? Type of ancient Roman shield known as a scutum. They're cool. Legionary's banner from the first Italica. This must belong to Horatius. Holy shit, he likes his fish sauce. Garum, a fermented fish sauce used as a condiment. Gives off a faint, salty aroma. He's got a lot of that stuff. 15 denarii. An ancient Roman cavalry helmet with an enclosed face mask and plume of dyed horsehair.